Okay, now we are officially recording. I've done that before, or about halfway through the meeting, I forgot to press the record button. So now we're recording. So good morning again. Share my screen. So here's the wiki for today. If you are not a member of the wiki, once again, I think most of you are. If you're not, you can see the address up here. If you just go to iu8curriculumnetwork.wikispaces.com and request to join, we can get you into that ASAP. So today's agenda, we do have a couple people that will be joining us virtually. First, to kick off the meeting, we will have Josh Britton, who is the creator of Get More Math. He will be with us here for about 45 minutes or so. He's going to give us an overview of Get More Math. We do have a local school district, which is Tyrone, who currently, a couple of their teachers are using this program, basically for the Keystone courses, I believe. And we did have her, the teacher from Tyrone, we did have her come to Rita's Math Network meeting to present, and we also have Josh presenting today, and then we do have a teacher training, which is on next Tuesday. I believe the 31st is Tuesday of next week. And if you have any interest after listening to Josh today, feel free to send some teachers next week to the training that we are offering. I think we have around 9 or 10 teachers right now. We thought maybe after today, there may be some more interest. And then I will go over some PDE updates, not too many. And I also have some IU8 updates today to go over. Rita is not with us today. She's at Everett School District. Jen Hernkane is out at a district. Brenda is at our state local PAIMS meeting. Leonard is in Richland. Trying to think, everybody's kind of all over the place today. Chris and Pat are joining us virtually. So we'll be kind of jumping around throughout the agenda, but we will share all the information with you. So I think at this point, and then at the end, we have Mark Gensmore from IU11 who's going to present what he's been working on. It's called Midas. It's an all-comprehensive kind of a data warehousing program. So if you want to stick around towards the end, he's going to also provide some information on that program. But in the meantime, Josh, I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen at the moment, and I'm going to turn everything over to Josh.
Excellent.
Okay, Josh, so go ahead and you can share your screen, and you can.
Thank you. This is completely foreign to me, to speak into a screen to a bunch of people, so please pardon me if there's any kind of getting used to it or on-ramping. My name is Josh Britton. Up to this year, for about 20 years, I've been a math teacher at Lampeter-Strasburg High School. And most of that time, I've been developing my own software package that I call Get More Math. I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to share my screen and show you a little bit about the program. Let's get this. All right, can you see my slides there? Excellent. So largely, my responsibilities have been to teach algebra and pre-algebra for about, as I say, 20 years. So the software that I developed covers grades 6 to 9 at this point. During those 20 years, while I was writing that software, especially in the more recent years, we've seen a lot of time and energy on the part of the state to develop more specific standards, and I would say more demanding standards. Also, there's been a dramatic increase in accountability. The state has done a lot of work at developing standardized testing and ways to ensure that students are really hitting the mark of those standards. In my opinion, there's a missing piece, and that piece would be tools to accomplish the goals that the state is setting. So the state has set the bar really high for our students and for our teachers. A lot of time, districts with a will to do well and good teachers and a lot of energy are struggling just to find ways to meet what seems to be impossible goals. So today, I'd like to talk about some tools that I've made. I think there's kind of 3 areas that we need good tools. One would be quality instruction, and then quality practice and quality assessment. And Get More Math, the software tool I've made, addresses the issues of good practice and good assessment. So I'm going to start with just a nutshell version, just talking you through what Get More Math is at its core. I'll leave a lot of sort of extra features and possibilities unspoken today in the interest of time and clarity. At its core, Get More Math gives each student a daily practice session targeting every skill that the class has learned so far. So it's a cumulative practice session. And each student's practice session is generated based on her individual data trail. So a student logs in to Get More Math and receives math problems. But those math problems are based on what she needs to work on the most. Perhaps she has a chronic weakness well, that weakness will be addressed with some problems in today's session. Maybe there's something she was really good at like 2-3 weeks ago, but she hasn't done any of those problems for some time. We'll Get More Math might put one of those problems out for her just to see how she's doing. If she gets it right, Get More Math would take that problem right away and she won't have to do any more for a while. But if she gets it wrong, Get More Math will give her additional problems of that sort to make sure that she shores up what had been at one time a strength for her. So that's the nutshell version: daily, cumulative, mixed review. My plan today is to go over some data to show you the effectiveness. Hopefully that will give you something to really interest you in thinking about using it. And then I'm going to talk about how the software gives quality practice, quality assessment, and then some comments about usage and requirements for the software. So starting off with data, this is dangerous to start with data because I love data and I could talk about the data forever. If I type in the name of my high school, Lampe Strasburg High School, and ask for Keystone Algebra growth numbers, I get a list of 701 schools. On that list of 701 schools, in the top 7 schools, I find the 2 schools that have used Get More Math so far. My school, Lampe Strasburg High School, which on its growth measure had an average of 31 points of growth on the 2015-2016 Keystone test. And then more locally to you, the Tyrone Area High School, which ranks 7th in the state out of 701 schools. Lampe Strasburg High School used my software all year long, the entire math department in the algebra level. Tyrone Area High School began to use the software in, I'd say, largely February, but they adopted it with enthusiasm and really took the plunge. They sort of pivoted in the middle of the school year and started doing something totally new, and then it tested as well. So that's pretty strong data. The only schools in Pennsylvania so far to have adopted the software thoroughly as of last year, knocked it out of the park. Now, in Lancaster County, now, a lot of other schools are trying it out, so we'll see how things go with this year's Keystone Algebra test. Going just to my own data, my students, I have 111 students over 2 years. You can see that when we score, they get a predicted number, and about half of this will score 1500 or better, or 4 of those 11. But in reality, at least half percent of students score 1500 or better. That's just setting for algebra proficient. So you can see that in terms of achievement, students hit a much higher mark than the state. In terms of growth, because there has to be growth in order to have that kind of achievement. We know a 0 for a particular student. My students averaged about 44 points of growth. And if you've kind of been swimming in the data sea for Keystone Algebra tests, you know that that's extraordinary, almost statistically unlikely. So I'm very pleased and proud of how well they did. This screen gives you an idea of how growth is dispersed over the level. So the colored bars, the reds, the blues, show the predicted score for my students. And then the grass, the little green bars sticking up, show growth about 0 for each of those students. And the first thing I would point out on this is that across the board, my students had growth. Of all my students in 2016, only 2 of them were below 0. This student performed extraordinarily below the expected amount a little bit. But in general, the vast majority of my students have not just growth, but strong growth when compared to their age cohorts. The next thing to notice is that the growth isn't just for low students or high students or no students. It was for all my students. And then finally, I would point out there's a lot of category jumping. So the state says the students predicted to score basic, the students scored proficient. Let's see, 3-4 times, students were predicted to score basic, they scored advanced. So just in general, you can see that my students are massively outperforming similar students in the state. And I believe this is a result of that cumulative mixed review. Just focusing on one class, I took the weakest kids in the class, algebra class. You can see, when they walk through the door at the beginning of the year, the state puts a stamp on their forehead. This child has a 0.8% chance of getting proficient on the Keystones. This one was painful. She was predicted to score below basic. She scored 1 point shy of proficient. So obviously, she had a tremendous year. She had immense growth when compared to similar students elsewhere. She still didn't quite hit the achievement mark. But what I wanted to show you was that a nice handful of students who basically the state said these kids don't have a bad chance. Yes, they scored proficient, and not just proficient. They had 4 times and 5 more abilities. All the kids who were predicted to score basic either got proficient or this one jumped all the way to advanced. Likewise, the kids who were predicted to score proficient, generally speaking, scored advanced. And then finally, local to you, this is hot off the press just recently, a week or 2 ago, I suppose. The Tyrone Area High School teachers sent me an email giving me the midterm results. So they were sure to tell me what kind of students they were talking about. These were 33 students who had scored on 8th grade PSSA. So they gave a 40-problem cumulative test. I looked through it, it covers everything they've learned so far, and their students average 84%. That's a beautiful number. It means that the students are strong on half a year's content. And again, it's an indicator of the effectiveness of their thorough use of Get More Math for daily review. So that's part 1 of my plans, just to show you some results for the Get More Math as a daily review tool. I'd like to drill down a little bit and show you what it looks like for that quality practice. And this portion of what I'm going to tell you is really the core functionality of Get More Math. It has a lot more to offer that we're not going to talk about today. So in my view, the goal of practice is mastery and long-term retention. And for that to happen, you want practice to be cumulative. I feel like, generally speaking, traditionally in math classes, too much of the practice is uniform instead of mixed. So my metaphor for that would be if we were to train somebody to be a boxer, and we're the coach, and each day we throw a single kind of punch repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over again. And we're very proud when our little boxing student gets to the point where he can block that punch. So one day we throw right hooks, and finally that student blocks every right hook, and we say, good job, give him 100%. Well, when finally the first bout comes along, that guy is going to be destroyed, because that's not how people do the same thing over and over again. We need to make sure that most of the practice we give to our students is not repeatedly hitting one concept, but rather is mixing in all kinds of concepts. So they're making those connections, and they're developing the flexibility to be able to adjust and shift and not be surprised or sort of mentally disturbed when there's a lot of different kinds of problems in their practice. Another aspect of practice needs to be individualized. This is something that we've always known, but traditionally, if you wanted targeted individualized practice for students, based on that somebody prepare for them and then exactly what in real time. This is where computers can shine. Computers can pay attention to each student, gather data on each student, and deliver exactly what that student needs. And then finally, for quality practice to have an impact, it needs to be frequent. So we're going to take the dive into the application itself and see how that kind of practice is delivered via Get More Math. It's a web-launched application. The launch page looks like this. There are two modes that a student can be in. We're going to start with what I call focused mode. So before I actually log this student in, let me place you in time. This is September 9th, 2015. It's in my algebra classroom. I'm going to use real data from that year. And this student has just received instruction of some sort on how to build pairs of numbers out of a linear relationship or an equation. The students got the lesson down. We've done some practice, maybe work with a partner, maybe there was a constructivist activity. The instruction is over. The student's now going to show that he knows what's going on. So he logs in, and this is what his screen looks like. I'm not going to go through all the features on the screen. I'm just focus on this box right first. This white zone will show a bunch of colored squares. That is to say, each square is for one skill the student could work on. Now, at the moment, there's only one colored square. That's because I've told Get More Math as the teacher, hey, I want this student and each student to do 6 problems of this particular type. So you can see at the top here, it says 0 of 6. The student that has logged in needs to do 6 problems of producing points. The fact that the square is red means that it's a low level for the student. In this case, he's never done any. So Get More Math assigns a color level based on Get More Math's data. And in this case, there is no data, so he's at the lowest level. The dollar signs in we'll talk about a little bit later. So let's go ahead and work the problem out. The student works the problem out. Well, smileys fill the screen. He gets happy. He sees up here, he has 1 point today. A new problem comes in. He doesn't really notice or understand how to handle this little dash here. Sometimes that snarls kids up. So when he works this problem out, he puts 100 in for the output when the input is negative 50. And that's not correct. He submits his answer. This time, no smileys. Some indicators that it's wrong, such as the red border here, still message up here. He understands that he needs to fix it. And when he fixes it, this is where we get to the first core sort of excellent feature of Get More Math, a feature that makes a tremendous difference in practice sessions. He's now about to get the problem right. And when he does, he gets the smileys, but here's the key moment. He didn't get a point. He still just has 1 point. So this next sentence is clutch for a student only gets a point when he gets the problem right on his first attempt. Well, it's okay, problem's wrong, it's normal, but it won't advance him. In other words, he's worked out 2 problems right now, but he's still only done 1 of the 6 that he's required to do in this focused practice session in order to show initial mastery of a skill. So he's got a new problem, I should say. These problems are dynamically generated. Each student has their own versions, and Get More Math will happily make as many as needed all day long. He gets this one right, more smileys fill the screen, and now he has students because that last one he got right on his first try. So we're going to jump ahead in time a little bit. We assume that over time he's getting better, he's getting problems right on his first try, and we're going to arrive at the second key feature well, you notice that it's right now the box is allowing this skill has leveled up. And he's about to get this point. This is a key moment in any class, any math class. In a traditional classroom, maybe this is a worksheet. Students are practicing on worksheets, and they have to do 6 problems, and then they're going to go over it as a class. Well, this student already knows when he gets this problem right that he's been right. Like, he doesn't need to go over anything as a class. In the traditional class, the student will be, quote, done for a while. You know the phenomenon. If you've taught math, what are you doing? Oh, I'm done. There's no such thing as the I'm done moment when you're in a Get More Math practice session, because just keep that problem right. Get More Math seamlessly shifts him into what we call mixed review, as indicated at the top here. So just in focused practice mode, making sure that he mastered initially the new skill. And now that he's demonstrated that skill, Get More Math will give him a mixed review session of everything the class has ever learned. Remember, this was from September, early September, so there weren't many skills yet. In this case, now we see 6 colored squares. A mixed review session is, as indicated earlier, individualized according to student need. Any problem that has a dollar sign is one that Get More Math know you may work for a point right now. Get More Math also automatically selects a problem for student, again, according to that student's greatest need. So sometimes students might play around, like, if the student clicks on this gold star problem, he could see the problem, and he could work it out, but it won't be worth a point for him. Right now, most of these are worth a point, so he just has to work on the problem. It's evaluating, he's good at evaluating, he does the problem quickly, hits the smileys, gets the point, but look what happened after he got it. Get More Math moves him back to this problem. This is the one kind of indicating you should work on this. And also, this is no longer worth $1, so if he clicks on it, he can do it if he wants, but it won't give him a point. That's an important feature. Over time, there will be fewer and fewer dollars if he keeps avoiding this problem that Get More Math is pushing at him, until eventually it will narrow him down to a single type of problem. Now, he's avoiding that. He might click off on this because he just did 6 of these, and 1 more would probably be pretty quick for him. But what happens over time during this session, or maybe it's tomorrow, is he'll cycle through everything he's ever learned with an emphasis on his areas of greatest need. So we've seen, first of all, that you need to get problems right on your first try in order to advance. And then secondly, that when you're finished with class, you can get done. The next thing I want to show you is just a sense of how this can play out over the course of a semester or a year. So we're going to want to type. We're going to see what it would be like for that student to log in the following week. The following week, we're going to just skip ahead. So this was September 9th. There were 6 problems in the student's skill set. A week later, when he logs in, it's up to this many problems. In other words, in the intervening week, we've been learning more material. And each day, or maybe every other day, I've been adding, as the teacher, new skills to the mixed review session. Now, I should say something I'm not going to show this morning is how that happens. But just in brief, the teacher has complete control over what goes into the overall mix. So problems. So teachers doing the things that meet his particular scope, sequence, objective standards. Get More Math is very neutral about what it is that teachers use or don't use. It's really up to the teacher what's in the mix of problems. All right, so we won't go into the mechanism for that, but that's the idea. A week later, there's more problems. A week later, there's more problems. And remember, every day the student's getting a mix through. Like, for example, when he logs in September 30th, there's a lot of problems shown. But Get More Math is saying you need to work on this one or on this one. And that's it. If you work on these other ones, they won't be worth points for you. Also notice that at this point, we've got 20 items in our mix, and that's just from one material. If you project that out to a whole year, the screen is like filled with boxes at the end of the year. That's too much. That's overwhelming. You can't hold on to all these different skills. It's not possible to through that in a good or fashion, not for most students. I had a conversation with her just a few days ago. She's like, well, my kids do 100 a day or something. So I don't know, maybe it's different for some students, but most kids can't cycle through frequently enough a huge collection. So the thing the teacher has to do is decide what really matters the most. What are the core or the foundational concepts? So actually, this happened on 2015, September 30th. That night, I had to look at the data, look at class performance, think about like which of the problems that were on the screen were superseded by more difficult problems that incorporated the prior skills. Some skills pull them out of the mix. They're kind of covered by other skills, and we're going to reduce the amount. So to some degree, the teacher's always kind of deciding what should be in the mix. The mix should be growing over the course of the year, but not too rapidly. So here we are the next day, October 1st. The student logs in and says, hey, what happened to all my stars? And I explained that I've taken some things out. So now we're going to jump faster so we can move through the semester. November 1st, December 1st, January 20th. This is a key day because it's the day before the midterm. You can see that this particular student by that time was really strong on most of the key skills. Some of these reds maybe are something that I've just been teaching, and it still has a red from maybe a few weeks ago, and there's a green from maybe a few months ago, but overall this student's in really great shape because every day he's going through everything, or a lot of everything. So the next day we did the midterms, and kind of like Tyrone's midterm example from just a few weeks ago, when those students took the midterm last year, over half of them got an A, and 47 problem, utterly comprehensive, totally cumulative test. All of them passed it, and it's not a like super strong class. It wasn't a super weak class either, but on average, those kids had a 47% chance of getting proficient on the Keystone algebra test. So mid-level class, low-level class. So it was really, again, I'm kind of slipping back to data, but it was very impactful to have that quality practice on a regular basis. So I haven't, like, if we were in person, I would say, should I take some questions? So
I was thinking this is probably a good pause. Josh, if anyone has any questions, you can simply just unmute yourself and ask away. You can still continue, so you can still continue to share your screen.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds as if I'm throwing on. So when you talk about that assessment that Karen just gave, is that assessment included? Is that something that's developed through Get More Math, or is that created at the individual level?
Yeah, excellent question. Get More Math offers a big library of types of problems you can use. But then what the Tyrone teachers did is they said, we want 40 problems that match our curricular objectives and our scope and sequence. So they moved our way through the library and all of those problems. So Get More Math didn't say, here's a 40 problem test. Mm-hmm. It just has the mechanism for you to create however many problems on a test and whatever kind of problems you want. Okay. Now for them, it wasn't very hard because what they could do is they could say, hey, Get More Math, what are all the problems that are in the mixed review sessions? And they could just make their test based on. They just said, if these are the 60 things that are on your screens, give us one of those, and then they had a test. And I should also say that Get More Math, then if one teacher makes that test, all the other teachers have access to it. So for example, if I wanted to give the Tyrone midterm, I could find it and give it to LS students. So there's a lot of sharing.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes, if not, you can go ahead and continue.
No,
okay.
Josh.
Yes,
it's Leslie Step from Tyrone. Hi. I just want you to know that Josh Britton is now the god of our math department. But we did begin using Get More Math, as Josh said, about this time last year. Came out that Josh and Eric Martin have a mutual friend called that connected them. And our middle school, we did not use Get More Math in middle school last year when we started to do this. It was just the high school teachers who had one. They were impressed, very much impressed with the program, and actually really impressed with Josh and his responsiveness to feedback and suggestions and working out bugs with the technology and some different things. So I do thank him for that, because that has been really a key to the success too. But what we had decided for this year is that we wanted all students and teachers who were building Algebra 1 then to use Get More Math, not just the high school teachers, we have to use the middle school too. So they're using it as well. Now our middle school teach Algebra 1, who also has some eighth grade math, they're incorporating some of that as Josh has been adding content for the lower grade levels. They've been able to do that a little bit. But they really like the fact that it doesn't replace them. They are giving the instruction, and working directly with the students up front. We have a read over one class, so that really helps to give them some additional time. Obviously, it can be done in a single period too, but the DOE period really helps with that. And we also at the high school have one-to-one Chromebooks, so that helps also that the students have daily personal access to a device as well. But the practice and the individualization within the program is what the teachers really like, because they're able to get around and help students a lot more easily, because they're having to do that initial individualization is flexible enough the teacher can make changes on their end if they need to. And so just all around, our teachers have been really impressed with the quality of content that is in the program, and Josh as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you chiming in. That's great.
We have a couple questions in the chat here, Josh.
Okay. So it's in the full screen. I can't see
Okay, I'm going to read them to you. The question is, I'm not sure if your district or Leslie, you can chime in. The role of CETs, classroom diagnostic tool, does that as a diagnostic tool have a role in this process? Do you utilize the diagnostic tool, Josh, at your school?
So that's kind of almost two questions. The second one is at Maple Strasburg High School, we do give a CDT. I have found it to be largely worthless, quite frankly. I love data, and I look closely at specific data. CDT gives me a bunch of little green check marks or red X's on all kinds of things, all kinds of students. And it's a good segue to what I'm about to show you. It's really hard to turn that data into specific, granular, actionable plans. So that's the answer to your second question. But in answer to the first question, like, would a CDT be something you could do in conjunction with Get More Math? Absolutely. I personally don't find much value in it. Get More Math is sort of neutral about what other tools you bring to bear, what schemes or strategies you have for a full year approach to algebra or pre-algebra or earlier grades. It's a tool for mixed review and practice. What you decide to put in there for your class, or you can individualize it. You can say, look, this kid is kind of in a separate group because he needs extra help in these areas. It's a very flexible, very malleable tool that a teacher can use to specifically address whatever she believes to be most important. So the CET, it's being used, has maybe perhaps a little more chance of being acted on if you were to use it in conjunction with Get. Other questions?
Another question regarding to devices, one-to-one technology. If a district does not have, a one-to-one setup, how does that hinder this?
So typically speaking, we like to see a classroom where the kids have access to a device most or all days. So, like, for example, my district does not have one-to-one. However, the classes that are using Get More Math are given the portable cart, or they're given a room that has computers in it, or they're going to a room that has computers in it. So we kind of do this big dance to get the computers we have into the hands of these classrooms, so that all of my Algebra 1 colleagues have computers of some sort every day. If you had a scenario, let's take a middle school scenario where there's 45, 47-minute periods, and most have computers, I would recommend something like a 2 days out of 5 computer lab. So you have your instructional days, your dry erase 4 days, your worksheet days, and then you have to report to the lab and do the Get More Math problems. But by hook or by crook, devices on a class set basis need to be available on a regular basis for this to work. Absolutely.
Okay, that's all the questions in the chat at the moment.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your questions. So that quality practice piece that I talked about, that's the being part of Get More Math. The algorithm that works each child through exactly what she needs to work on a regular basis, that's the part that really hits the home run with student gains for mastery, that initial mastery, but also the long-term retention. The next piece I'm going to show you can use, and I use it regularly, but it's sort of built on top of the first piece that I showed you. So let's talk about quality. So much like practice, the goal again is to elicit mastery and ensure long-term retention. It's not just, as you all know, it's not just a goal of getting a grade in the grade book. So to my philosophy, and this is my philosophy, all testing should be cumulative. Anything beyond a 2-problem quiz should cover everything students ever learned. In other words, traditionally in math classrooms, we've often given unit tests. To me, a unit test is anathema. So we often will teach, test, and then teach, test. And what we're testing is the material we just taught up to sufficient snuff? And then once the unit test is done, we kind of move that on. And maybe on the next unit test, we tack on a couple of review problems. I have a completely different view. I think that every test a student takes should cover everything they've ever learned. And it should be mixed, all mixed up. Maybe one concept from 3 months ago, one concept from 2 months ago, etc. And then probably most significantly for the purposes of this discussion, I think that every assessment should be actionable, meaning that from the data you gather from that assessment, you can very specifically and very fiercely pursue the needs that are indicated for each student in an individualized way. And when you get to that point, it's basically impossible as a human to produce those kinds of plans. I would try to make all my tests cumulative. I'd try to make cumulative practice tests. And then after the tests, I'd try to get each child to fix her own mistakes and then learn from those mistakes. And I did the best I could. But this is, again, a place a computer can really shine. The teacher says, these are the things we need to test. But then the computer can tabulate results and come up with action plans for each student and deliver those action plans on the screen. And then each kid is having to kind of work on his or her areas of weakness. So I'd like to show you how Get More Math works with that. But first, just a little bit of view on how I personally do testing. It's a 3 Friday or 2-week cycle, and I've chosen 3 actual Fridays from last year to show it. The first Friday was Friday, January 29th of last year. On that day, I made a test. And this blue arrow in the bar indicates that the test covered everything from September through January 29th. So it's a test that covers 5 months of material. Now, where it gets a little strange is I made the test a week before I gave it. I gave the test here. So on Monday, we learned more material, but that material is not going to be on the test. On Tuesday, we learned more material, not on the test. Through the rest of the week, we learn things. But when the test actually comes up, the newest material, I don't test it. Because I'm not actually interested in knowing whether the stuff we just started to think about is at a point of mastery or long-term retention. I want to know if the students are good at everything else. So when I gave that test, it was 37. And here's an example student. This is what it looks like on the teacher screen when you're grading. The check marks were ones that he got right, and the X's he got wrong. It could be partial credit, but in this case, it looks like he didn't get any credit. You see a P instead of an X. But my main point is that this test covers everything except the new material. And if you think about it, that's sort of the inverse of the system where you test on what you've been learning, and you don't test on everything. So now we get to the part that I really, really like. It's the actionable part. These tests are cumulative, they're mixed. But this student missed 5 problems on his test. And that means we need to address that somehow. And traditionally, that's been very hard for me. You have the students come in the next day, and a lot of students, they have a mindset, well, the test is over. Yeah, I got this problem wrong. Is that what I did? Okay, whatever. But what I want is I want each student to fix his mistakes, and then I want additional practice from those mistakes, and then I want to assess again to see if that remediation has taken effect. So what I do is the following Friday, a week after the test, I give what I call a follow-up test. In this case, this student received 5 more problems. This problem covered the specific 5 problems that he got wrong. And he got right. Well, he got partial credit on one. But the question has to be, well, how did he targeted remediation on those 5 problems so that by the time he got his follow-up test a week later, he was able to do so well? And this is where a computer can really shine. When a student is done with the Get More Math assessment, he clicks a little button to hand it in. The teacher can see his results, make decisions, maybe look at his work, about partial credit, maybe full credit. Maybe what if the student had the answer right on the paper but typed it in wrong? I would give full credit for that, for example. But eventually the teacher hits the button saying, look, this thing is done, I've graded it. And then when the student looks at their screen, it looks a little different than it normally looks. There's what we call the dotted line. All problems above the dotted line are the exact problems that student missed on the recent assessment. Notice that they all have dollar sign symbols, and none of the other problems do. What that means is Get More Math is saying, at this point, you must fix each of these problems from your test. And after they've been fixed, they also have to do an additional practice problem correct on their first try. For the math the remainder of the mixed review problems. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a Friday. I give this big test. Students are turning it in, and as they're turning it in, I'm pushing it back out to them. Often, before kids have left on a Friday, they have taken the test, seen every problem they got wrong, fixed every problem they got wrong, and additional practice on each of those problems, all on that one day. And then when they come in, say Monday or later in the week, that dotted line persists. And for the whole week, every time they log in, they see the skill set that they missed on the most recent test, and they know upcoming soon on Friday they'll be given another test that targets just the ones they got wrong. So this student knows that he's going to have a 5-problem test on Friday. So anytime he wants, he can go to work on these. Now, Get More Math won't always put the dollar sign symbol on these. More Math will cycle him through the other problems as well. But the algorithm does put a little more emphasis on these 5 throughout that week, so that it's extra practice on those. And by the end of the week, when he takes the follow-up test, he's prepared. Well, I've shown here more data. This is the results of the test on February 5th in this one algebra class. This is the student we're looking at. He missed 5 problems. He did well on the test, but we want to, just because he did well, we still want to remediate his weak spots, and you can see that he did quite well in his follow-up. If you just kind of let your eyes scan up and down the result of the follow-up, you see all kinds of things happening. One in particular, I lost that slide. One in particular that I like is this one. This student got a 63.5% on the test, the big test, if you will. 15 problems had mistakes on them. So whether you get partial credit or full credit, any problem where there's a mistake is going to be on your follow-up. So in the interval week here, this student had those 15 problems above the dotted line, had to fix them, had to do more targeted practice. And by the time the next Friday rolled around, that student had 13 out of 15 on the follow-up test. This would be an example of just phenomenal the effect of targeted remediation. And actually, even a student who failed the original test and failed follow-up has made substantial growth. The fact that she could then go and get 10 right at the 18 that she got on the first time does mean she's moving in the right direction. Although she hasn't moved as much as I want her to, that's a lot to move towards. So she's kind of in a hole that she's trying to get out of it. And a lot of students who actually did quite well on the original test crushed the follow test, showed that they've addressed those little areas that they needed to kind of brush up on, and now they're in good shape. I should say, I don't think I've said this yet, Get More Math isn't magic, it's not a silver bullet. Things don't always work out the way I want them to. The data in a large scale shows excellence. But when we look at the specifics, sometimes things go south. Doesn't matter what you do, that's going to be the case. Oh, there it is. That's the one I wanted to show you. All right. So that's assessment, and maybe I'll pause for, I don't know if in the chat anybody has posted any questions or anybody would like to ask a question now before I conclude with usage and requirements.
We just, while we were here, the alignment to the PA core, we're assuming that is, you have done that work.
That's correct. So again, I've made all kinds of problem types, and that's a work in progress. I've been working on this. I don't know if I said this, for about 12 years, and it's what I do late nights and weekends and summers. And actually, this year I've taken a leap since, and I'm just doing Get More Math. So I have personally made about 1,250, 1,300 different kinds of dynamically generated problems. So it massively covers the PA core for Algebra 1. It strongly covers the PA core for like an 8th grade setting, and it covers the PA core for the earlier grades. But it still has some holes, like teachers write in to say, hey, I'm trying to think of a recent example. I got a great question for a particular type of problem from a teacher just yesterday. He said, I need problems that do thus and such. He wanted translation problems, and I can't believe I haven't written those. Like a sentence says, the sum of a number and the product of 2 other numbers is 7, and then a student has to write an equation that models that. I don't have that, and I know I didn't have that. So this weekend, I'm going to make that for him. So it's a work in progress, but there's been a ton of progress already. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense, yes. And there's another question that just came in about constructed response questions. How are they assessed?
Well, that's a question. I don't have constructed response questions. In other words, everything can be graded by the computer.
Okay.
A lot of the questions are, however, multi-part. So I try to have questions that make the kids read the problem. You can't. It's not just a process-based thing, but rather you have to read a paragraph, and the paragraphs have wording changes that kind of slide around, so you can't just see the paragraph and know, oh yeah, this is the kind of problem where I do this, this, this. So there's a lot of interpretation that's required to successfully do the harder word-based ones. But no, we don't have like a paragraph kind of thing. What I do is sort of my whole year is building towards the ability to handle that. And then I started introducing those on paper as part of my instruction in, I'd say, like March or so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Looks like you can go ahead.
All right. Well, so I'd like to conclude with some comments on using this program. As I've said before, I'm really not going to delve into the mechanics themselves. That would be more appropriate for like a training session where we give you an account and show you how to make it a focused practice session, how to add to the mixed review. I just want to give you a picture of how my use case looks, but this is just my use case. Get More Math is a tool. It doesn't prescribe any particular use case. People use it all kinds of ways. In my block scheduled year-long algebra class, my school day begins with Get More Math. Kids come into the room and they'll log in. And that takes about 1/3 of the class, maybe 1/4 of our time. As I said earlier, I believe cumulative mixed review is shortchanged in the traditional math class, and that if we really want kids to have long-term retention, we need to supply a substantial amount of time for them to practice. Then comes instruction, which, again, Get More Math is totally neutral about your construction. I'm sort of a semi-constructivist, you would say. I like kids to discover. I want them to have ownership, but everybody has their own thing. My point would be that typically in my classroom takes about 1/3 of the period. And then after instruction, when I'm confident that my students are ready to independently succeed, I'll send them back to the computers and they'll do focus tests. That's what you saw at first, when it was just one skill on the screen. And I'll tell Get More Math, look, on these systems problems, every student needs to get 3 of these right on her first try before they go back to mixed review. But then as get that initial mastery and they get their 3 points in my example, they will seamlessly be pushed back to the beginning of the day. And that period of time is usually about 1/3 of my class. But it can change. That's just the broad picture. And then finally, I do use Get More Math for homework. I don't actually use the word homework, though. What I do is every day at the end of the period, I assign a Get More Math number. I say, by midnight, you need so many on Get More Math to get your daily assignment number. I'll choose that number based on student performance. I look at the teacher screen. I find sort of the median score. And then what I do is I look for a student who's a hardworking, responsible student who maybe is a little on the low side for score. And I see what he scored. I think, okay, he's got 8 points. How long would it take him to get to 10 points, 12 points? And I try to make a number that has him reaching a little bit, but not too much. And I'll say, okay, everybody needs to get to 12 by midnight tonight. What that usually means is about half the students in the room look at their screens and they already have those 12 points and they don't have homework. Rather, they've already completed the daily assignment. It's one of the things about Get More Math. It's not one size fits all anymore. If a student has shown strength and mastery in the classroom and has a good grasp on everything we've taught, including what we did today, then she doesn't necessarily need to do more, and certainly doesn't need to just do sort of a repetitive set of problems covering something she's already shown definitively that she's good at. So anyway, that's how I handle homework in my use case, and that's just my style. So that's a typical day. Some of the things that have...
Can I ask you a quick question, Josh?
Oh, yeah, please. Mm-hmm.
Not everyone and not all districts, I guess, have that block scheduling in place. So do you have any usage suggestions for those that have anywhere from 40 to maybe 50-minute periods?
Absolutely. So I think I would recommend, my preference would be, and this is hypothesizing for myself, using Get More Math for those blocks. Like suppose on Monday it's an instruction day, and maybe even Tuesday's an instruction day. Well, then maybe Wednesday's Get More Math day. And on Wednesday, you're doing the computer part to make sure that you've really, first of all, mastered the new material from Monday and Tuesday. So you do like a focused practice session. And then you would have it would automatically move back to the mixed review. But I would probably take the whole block of time for the mixed review plus the focused review. So I'd probably try to do 2 periods Get More Math, 3 periods instruction. That would be my inclination. It kind of depends on the devices. I've been very impressed with Chromebooks. I haven't had those. Like, I have desktops, so kids have to go from their regular desk to the desktop, turn them, get them logged into the machine, and then start the program. So much time lost in transition that I don't like the thought of only having 47 minutes to start with and then going back and forth. But anyway, the Chromebooks, they're pretty impressive. You just pop that thing open, and within a minute, you're doing Get More Math. So maybe if I had fast devices like that, maybe I would do sort of a pared down version of what I've just been saying. But I probably would only attempt 2 of these on any given day, probably on all 3. Chelsea Markle at Tyrone Area High School does use a Get More Math tool regularly, and she has a symbol block. I believe, Leslie, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case.
Yes, she does have a single block. Those are students. I'm trying to think without looking. Those I believe are students who were not proficient in Algebra 1 coming out of middle school, and they're repeating Algebra 1 in into the retest in the spring, and so they don't need the double period.
I see.
They have a single period. I believe that's the class that Chelsea has.
Excellent. So she probably doesn't need quite as much time for instruction. But it's funny, I should really talk to her about her specifics, but I can tell you the data that her students are achieving is amazing. I've looked at the data, but I haven't talked to her about her implementation plan. But overall, I would say that's how I would handle it. I would probably have Get More Math days and instruction days.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Yeah. So some of the changes I've really seen here in my own practices over a decade of using my own software. First of all, I finally have a way of ensuring initial mastery. So it used to be, I'm teaching 27 kids. There's a kid in one corner who needs help, a kid in another corner who's working hard, but I'm helping a kid in one corner, maybe some kids are working together in another corner. It's actually possible, despite my best attempts, it's possible for a student who's trying hard to get the practice problems wrong, then we maybe fix them as she pays attention to what we do on the board, then to get the homework problems wrong, but then fix them when we go over the homework. We finally get to a quiz, she misses the problems. And we look at the scores together, we go, gosh, she's trying hard, and she did everything she was supposed to do, and she concludes, I'm just bad at tests. But in reality, she has never independently worked out a problem correctly on her first attempt. So what should we expect? But we don't know that. Like, that data is not visible. What we have now is we have a way of making sure that every student attains initial mastery. That's been a beautiful transformation, and my students have benefited greatly from that. Kind of along the same lines, the first year I taught, over half my students failed the final exam. I remember that distinctly because they had done well throughout the year. It was a good year. My students enjoyed it. I had a lot of energy as a first-year teacher. And then they forgot all this material, and it was shocking to me at the time. It isn't anymore. It makes lots of sense now. But now my students do really well on the final exam and on algebra test because they've been practicing. It's sort of simple, but it's very powerful. One of the really fascinating aspects of that very, very first feature that I said, where students have to get them right on the first try to get a point, this really increases accountability, both for students and for teachers. One of the early things that teachers using Get More Math have to adjust to is students who begin the practice, the focused practice, need to have sufficient skills to get problems right. So you'll teach a lesson perhaps, you think everything's fine, they start working on Get More Math, and 12 kids are raising their hand all of a sudden because they're all stuck. And this may mean that they actually didn't learn the material as well as you thought they did. So it holds you, the teacher, accountable. If you don't make sure kids know what they're doing, then your students and you will experience a lot of pain. So pain is an effective teacher. So now I'm always really careful to make sure my kids really get it before I start releasing them to the wild for them to be working on their own on Get More Math. It's been great for efficiency. I no longer need to take time in my period for homework review, nor do I need time for warm-ups. Both of those are decent traditional activities, but because Get More Math is individualized, it does a much job at determining what a kid should warm up on. And also because my homework really is no longer one size fits all, everybody does the same thing, I don't anymore need to come up with some activity that goes over the homework.
Josh, how do you handle students that are significantly below, those skill levels? Are you able to, is Get More Math able to provide the appropriate practice for those students?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of ways of handling that. So again, it's Get More Math gives you the tools, and then you get to decide how you want to use them to address your particular scenario. So I have right now at Solanco High School, just down the road from where I live, there's a teacher who has 47-minute blocks, and he has the widest range of abilities I've ever seen. He has students who are the lowest in the district, and some of the students are the highest in the district. So what he actually does with Get More Math is he has, I believe, 2 or 3 classes in Get More Math. So you can say, look, Get More Math, these kids are in this group, these kids are in this group, and you can list from, hey, for this group, the mixed review should list. For this other group, you can kind of be a little more reined, maybe some more precursor skills. And if it'll do the work, you can actually roll up your sleeves and drill that all the way down to an individual level where you say, this kid, you can sculpt his experience. This child right here needs to have this kind of experience. So like at LS, there's a teacher who has a resource room math class with, I'd say it's usually 10 to 12 students. He actually, in that room, he has 5 classes in Get More Math, and he's sculpting the level and progression for each group according to their ability level and their attainment. Other questions?
Nope, I think we can probably wrap up here within the next couple minutes, if that's okay.
That's fine. Just about done.
Yeah.
Another big transformation for me has been pacing. I would say that now that I have this daily flow of tons of data, I've discovered that I was teaching too much, too fast. Every year, I actually probably teach less than I taught the year before. And this is data-driven. I see where the students are, the pace that they can acquire material. I'm teaching less, but my students are doing better. So that's been a big transition for me too. Some of the things you need for this to work is, as Leslie said before, Get More Math doesn't provide instruction. There are no help screens, there are no online videos. It presupposes the existence of a teacher and the teacher's brain. At the large scale, the teacher's making all the decisions about what material the students should be learning, what the scope should look like, what the sequence should look like. And then Get More Math does the implementation and the individualization. I'd say when you try something new, especially technology, like this morning, this is new for me. Be flexible. You need to be resilient. There's so many different kinks in using technology. An important aspect, I would say, is willing and empowered teachers. So the teachers need to want to do this. The attitude of the teacher makes just 100% difference. If a teacher doesn't want to use it, then the student experience it in a negative fashion. If the teachers are excited about it, then, like at Tyrone, I was going to visit them today, but I wasn't able to. But one of the teachers emailed me a great big thank you poster from one of the classes. So they're that excited about Get More Math because the teachers are excited about it, and the students are happy to be doing math problems successfully. So willing and empowered teachers is really important. And finally, it takes time. It's a sophisticated tool with a lot of feature sets and a lot of potential. It's not just a point and shoot. So it takes a while on ramp to get used to it, to adjust your practices. And I think it's important to mention that. If you're interested in using Get More Math, we are offer free for the remainder of this school year. We'd be happy to help train you too, as well, for free. In particular, I mean, I know it's Friday morning, but next week on Tuesday, as mentioned earlier, there is a full day training at the IU. And we'd love to have maybe a representative there, or a small group there, or a large group there. Send whoever you want. This would be a great chance. It's unusual for us to have a chance to work for a full day with a group. You could really get steeped in how does the teacher do this or accomplish this. You could also go to our website and sign up for a free account if you wanted to. Or our customer service guy, Robbie Brown, would be happy to get you started. You could drop him a note. Or if you want to talk about like this whole other area of scope and sequence or particular concepts, or gosh, anything that comes to your mind that you want to kick around with me, that's what I'm here for. I'd love to talk to you. I've got my phone number on the screen there. You could drop me a note. We would love to have more folks at the IU8 give it a try, and we would be happy to assist as needed. So I guess that concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening to me talk to the screen.
No, it worked. Hopefully, I mean, it worked well. I mean, I think from your end, it was very clear. We follow along very easily. And I do have a couple questions that came through the chat. One of which, is there an instructional remediation component? So for those using this tool, how are they remediating before reassessing? Does that go back to the direct instruction, or?
Give me just a second. I'm trying to leave from my full screen and actually see people. There must be a way to see people, right?
You can just click unshare. Stop sharing. Okay.
There's everybody. Hi, everybody.
Okay.
So the question is,
for those using the tool, how are they remediating before reassessing?
So there are a number of ways of doing that. My favorite way is what we call the follow-up test, where after the original assessment, you instruct Get More Math to, for each student, focus down, narrow down, and focus on the problems that student got wrong on an assessment. So every time the student logs in Get More Math is thinking, hey, on that last test, she missed these 7 problems. And so I better make sure that we work through those 7 problems on a regular basis. We call it the follow-up test. That was the dotted line I showed kind of in the middle there of the presentation. It's a beautiful thing because each student is getting a remediation in terms of practice per that student's needs.
Okay. And also for next Tuesday, for teachers that attend, should they bring a device with them? Do you recommend that they have a device?
Absolutely, I'm glad you asked that. And in particular, it should be basically a laptop because the teacher program runs on Java, so they need to have a laptop that has Java enabled or installed, I should say.
All right, and we have devices here at the IU as well. So,
right.
But that question was asked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we look forward. So you will be here on January 31st for training.
No, that will be Erica Martin.
Erica's actually going to do that. Okay, so Erica Martin is the teacher at Tyrone. Who? Yes.
That should be a major point because she's amazing, very dynamic, and she's been using Get More Math, and you couldn't ask for a more enthusiastic and engaging presenter.
I completely agree 100%.
Have you seen her yet?
Yes, I have met her, and she was also here at our math curricular, our math network meeting just recently when she has provided an overview of the program. So she's awesome. Any other questions for Josh? Okay.
Right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your flexibility for today. Sorry that it wasn't in person, but I think this worked out just as well. So, all right, well, hopefully, you may be hearing from more districts here in IUA.
That would be great.
Okay.
Folks, have a great weekend.
Thank you. You as well. Okay. All right, for everyone else, I'm just going to go back to the wiki here. All right, so as we move into some of the PDE updates, I recently had, a meeting with the state level and some things that we talked about. So comprehensive planning, I think because I'm just going to click here. If you subscribe to the CP tip jar, they're very good at posting the most up-to-date information for comprehensive planning. So if you have not heard or if you've not seen this, due to Act 118, when they did the little pause in the Act 48, Act 45 hours, that has also affected comprehensive planning. So all comprehensive plans will be delayed for 1 year. And this kind of goes into some more of the language. So basically for any phase, you have a 1 year extension in submitting your comprehensive plan. So for any phase 2, because phase 2s were the districts who were just recently would have submitted on November 30th of 2016. So for any of you that submitted those plans, even if they were approved by PDE, your plan is going back into the planning mode or the planning phase, okay, by the end of February. So by the end of February, your plan will be going back into the planning stage, and then you can continue to plan, revise as necessary, and then your plan will be resubmitted on November 30th, 2017. Okay. So it says you may not have too many changes to be made in your goals and strategies within your plans. It depends, but just make sure you adjust the timelines within your implementation step area. And if you have any questions or if you need any assistance, you can certainly reach out to me and we can go through that process. But okay, so it says special ed, for phase 2 special ed plans, it says phase 2 special ed plans will not be returned. Special ed plans for phase 2 submitted in 2016 were accepted. Okay, so make sure that you're aware of that. And these are the new dates for the comprehensive plans. So whatever phase you are in, if you're not sure, there's a list a link that you can click on to the phase list. But these are the new dates for which each phase will have to submit their comprehensive plan. Okay. Now it does say that this extension will include special ed plans since they are a part of the comprehensive plans. These are the new dates for those special ed plans. However, with the exception of those phase 2s that were just submitted back in May, those were accepted. Okay. All right. And then just so that you know, if we think about any Title I school-wide plans or school improvement plans, this extension does not apply to any school improvement plan or school-wide Title I plan Those dates, you still need to resubmit those on a yearly basis. So any priority and focus school that has to resubmit their school improvement plan via that web application, that would be due June 30th, 2017. This pause not affect any of those school-wide Title I plans. Okay. So there's information that just lists all of that. If you're interested, there's a Q&A webinar that the comprehensive planning team will be having. If you're interested in that, there's some information for charter schools, priority focus schools. Okay, so the tip jar is very useful. I do like that. It talks about the comprehensive planning office hours. They're available if you want to join them there. Okay, and they have that information. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to exit out of there. And if you have any questions, feel free just to unmute as I go. In terms of, this is just kind of reiterating, for anybody that's a Title I school who operates a school-wide plan only, there were several updates and enhancements made just on January 23rd to that school-level plan area in the comprehensive planning tool. That's used to meet federal requirements. So all Title I school plans will need to be completed and or updated in that web application by June 30th, just so you're aware of that. Okay. All right. And this was a pen link that went out. So, I just wanted to kind of post that there just in case you didn't see that. And then here is there are the documents that I'm referring to here. There are screenshots on how you can do that. But these are the documents here that you can refer to. So that's the comprehensive planning update. If we move on to PVAS, here's a PowerPoint that I'm going to refer to provide those updates. All right, so PEERS, if you're not familiar with PEERS, if you don't use PEERS, that's the Pennsylvania Educator Effectiveness Reporting System. Basically, what this is a free tool that PDE offers for, it's basically the web version of the 82 1, 2, and 3s. It's not extensive to the point that you have for like PAE TEP or any of those more robust systems. This does not do that, but it's just that web tool or the web version of those tools. If you are interested, they are having they did have on January 20th, they did have a webinar. However, if you go to these links, you can access the recordings to those. Okay, and if you are interested, in any of our districts here in IU8 that use PEERS, we can connect you to any of those districts if you want to learn more, or if if you're interested in going through this, certainly let us know. We can get you in touch with any districts that are currently using the system so that you can ask any questions that you might have. Okay. Once again, there's actually a PEERS Google page on the PVAS resources site. Okay, so you can feel free. There's an FAQ. If you're interested, you can at any point you can come on board with PEERS. It doesn't have to happen at the beginning of the year. You can certainly jump on board at any point in time. And this is just a snapshot to show you where those PEERS resources are on the Google site of the PVAS system. Roster verification, just so that you're aware of the important dates that are coming up. So the PIMS staff student subtest collection, that's going to be on March 20th, the noon deadline. And this is used to pre-populate the roster system. They do, the PVAS team, so this is a very hard deadline. There's no correction window for this submission. Schools it's recommended that you don't wait until the last minute to do this because you just never know what could pop up. Because there is no correction window for that, you may want to submit this information a little bit earlier. I'm sorry, didn't need to go that quickly. And here are the roster verification phase dates. You can see this will all begin The preview phase will begin on May 3rd. And then you can see the teacher verification dates, school verification, and district verification dates are all listed. So this is more of an awareness, just an FYI of those dates that are coming. And once again, this is just another screenshot of all the dates from January to May for the PIMS PBAS collection. And some PBAS roster verification resources. Once again, on the Google site, which you can access directly from here, it will take you to all of the roster verification phase dates, an FAQ, some sample scenarios, any resource that you're really looking for. Coming soon, they are going to have a roster verification checklist for all rules, which will be nice, and a roster verification e-learning module, a part 2 version. So look for that. Another new report that's coming through PBAS is this, I guess it's a parent guardian report, which I think they're changing the name of this parent guardian report to, they're going to rename it to a student success summary. But this report is going to eventually be able to be generated and provided to parents and guardians for PBAS information. I think they're currently piloting this and gathering some feedback. This will be a live report for student data in the fall. There will be a rollout on a demo site and a training that will be provided somewhere between April and July, which will be the IUs will be trained in that, and then we will roll that out to our districts. The training audience, they would like to include guidance counselors. Obviously, I think that would be a great idea. And then the disclaimer, the report and plan is subject to change based upon development. So it's kind of hard to see, but this is a little snapshot of what that report is going to look like. So that's something to, just think about as we move forward, that this is going to be a new report that will be coming. So any questions that you have for PBAS, you certainly, I'm the point of contact here at the IU, but also the PBAS team, there's their email as well. They are a great group of people. You can always reach out to them too. Okay. Oops, I'm going to exit out of that. And also, I wanted to kind of add here, if you have, I know just recently, we conducted a PBAS kind of one-to-one session with the Hollidaysburg School District, sat down with their administrative teams, their elementary staff, their elementary team, for about an hour and a half. Then we had the middle school team come in for an hour and a half. Then we had the high school team come in for about an hour and a half. And we were able just to kind of sit down and dig into some of that PBAS data, really talk about that conferencing piece with teachers. So if that's something that you're interested in, certainly let me know. We can arrange to kind of go through that process. I know the PBAS team, they did that with some of the larger school districts within, across the state. They started with them. But now as we move forward, we can certainly look towards, some of the other districts out there that might want that kind of one-to-one support. And back to the conferencing with teachers, there are some new videos posted for your use. I know that, back in the fall, whenever the PBAS team was here providing that training with the conferencing with teachers piece specifically, they were not able to release any of the sample videos. But now those videos are able to be posted, and here's the link. They're like 10, 15-minute long videos that you can kind of view a principal conferencing with the teacher based upon, that the teacher composite score and kind of going through all of that information. So those are accessible. And I also just kind of link the PBAS login page here just for additional resources. It's always helpful. If I just click on that, it'll take you to the PBAS login page. Just some understanding PBAS in general. If you still have some teachers that just don't quite understand growth in general, there are some documents here that you can refer to. And then using PBAS for a purpose for teachers, for school leaders, for district leaders, guide guides to reporting, some how-to resources. So just so you're aware of some of the locations in which you can access PVAS resources. Okay. All right, so that's PVAS. Like I said, I'm just going to move along. I don't know if I have any. You're just going to have to unmute yourself if you have any questions, because I currently can't see the chat box. So as I'm sharing my screen here. All right, think through math. Okay, so now we have to kind of get more math out of our brains. And now we have what's called a think through math pilot opportunity across the state of Pennsylvania. This just kind of came about not too long ago. Think Through Math was purchased through Imagine Learning, if anybody is familiar with Imagine Learning. It's a company out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, obviously, and they just recently entered into a contract with PDE. And now we are looking for any districts across the state that would want to pilot this Think Through Math program. I did provide a link to the website. And basically it is students receive direct instruction, immediate feedback, and a live certified math teacher when needed. We would, through this pilot program, receive analytics for the pilot schools. And schools and IUs will receive a report regarding which students and for what reasons they are connecting with a live teacher. This live teacher has access to a shared virtual whiteboard. We got a demo of it just recently. It is actually kind of neat. And if anybody would be interested in a live demo, I just knew we wouldn't have time to do that today. You can certainly let me know. I can get a demo account and provide that to you. It services grades 3 to 8, and there's an embedded motivation program. It can be used for formal or informal summer school experiences. So the pilot, the state is looking to recruit some school districts to implement this. It does not, I know the timing is bad, and we even kind of voiced that concern, when we had our meeting at the state level last week, that I don't know if we'll get districts that just want to commit, halfway through the year to start piloting in a different program. But it can be used for any kind of after school program that you might have, or if you have anything going on this summer, that would be, that would also be included in this pilot. So this pilot is actually going to occur from the rest of the school year, throughout the summer, and then the first semester of next school year. And then what the state is looking to do is hopefully looking to be able to provide this tool at no cost, to our districts, even beyond the pilot. So I'm just going to, that's kind of all I'm going to really talk about at this point. If you have any interest, check out the website, see what you think. If you think you might be interested in this for any of your even Title I math programs, or get in touch with me. We can quickly kind of go through a demo of it and see if it's something that you would even like to progress, down the road. It is kind of the time sensitive. I know I said it kind of need to know ASAP. Our region, with including IU 8, 10, and 11, our expectation is to recruit 5 schools across 3 IUs. So if you have any interest, certainly get in touch with me, and I can show you some additional, like I said, we can get into a demo account. This pen link, if we move to Act 86 computer science, this pen link just came across just the other day. So I just kind of threw it up there because I know with some pen links, we tend to kind of overlook them as they flood our inbox at times. But I wanted to make sure that you saw this because PDE has released some guidance, and you can link out to the guidance via this site. And in the effort to ensure that all high schools, career and tech centers, and local and LEAs that offer computer science and/or an information technology course, that you're aware of opportunities that are proposed through Act 86. And it kind of gives you some more information that, it was signed by Governor Wolf back in July, and it allows students to substitute math and/or science graduation credit with a computer science or information technology course. Based upon the policies developed by you as the LEA. So there are some guidance document to help you make some of these informed decisions and develop these policies as you move forward, just making sure that you are aware. It tells you kind of what the guidance is going to provide. And it talks about, this guidance is the first in a multi-stage effort by PDE to provide this support. And it shows the different phases of the support that is going to occur. So that's more, like I said, just wanted to make sure that you saw that information. And then just some miscellaneous stuff. Just so that you know, I know that there was some kind of talk, at least amongst my colleagues at the state level, that that grade 8 students, we know currently right now that a bulk of our grade 8 students continue to test the Algebra 1 Keystone as well as the PSSA all in 1 year. And we know that that's been a concern across the board, and there was talk that could change. But just so that you know that there's no change currently in the 16-17 school year in terms of PSSA Keystone testing. Grade 8 students will continue to test both in Algebra 1 and PSSA. There are some options in ESSA that would allow Pennsylvania to kind of satisfy that federal reporting and eliminate this double up assessment, but nothing yet has come, because ESSA is, Pennsylvania is still in the process of adopting ESSA in terms of how we are going to move forward with those regulations. But just kind of continue on the way that you are, and we'll just kind of await for, some information that comes out later on this summer regarding that. But right now, those poor 8th grade students are just kind of stuck with 2 tests. So also, what else does this say here? Just in case you aren't familiar, that the current indicators they're being voted on right now by the General Assembly in terms of the SPP. We foresee little changes with agreement on the indicators, but we will see more of a challenge with the weights and the measures that you'll see within the SPP, which is now called the PA Future Ready Index. Because the SPP is written into Act 82, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of change with educator effectiveness at this point in time, because it is, like I said, written into Act 82, and to try to change legislation is certainly not something that happens overnight. So what we're probably looking at, we might have 2 different systems for SPP. We'll have the federal accountability for SPP, and then we'll also have a system in terms of, how SPP is calculated for educator effectiveness. We're probably going to be looking at 2 different sets of data to kind of fulfill both of those requirements for federal accountability and for educator effectiveness. And then we'll also have the PA Future Ready Index as a third accountability system. So just kind of, keep in the back of your minds as we move forward. Yes, we're trying to change, the SPP is changing because it's already changing in terms of the PA Future Ready Index, but we still have the federal accountability to think about, and we also have educator effectiveness to think about. So you're looking at a variety of ways in which we're going to look at data. So kind of brace yourself for that. Just FYI, in the past we've conducted our Summer Leadership Academy with IUs 10 and 11. We have had like a 2.5-day event. And as we kind of, after we held the last Leadership Academy, we kind of went back to the drawing board, and we have determined that this year we're going to offer a 1-day event only. And that's going to be Wednesday, July 12th. It will still be held in Tofttrees and State College. We're just sort of in the preliminary planning phases right now, but we are only going to have a 1-day event this summer. There just seems to be a lot going on, and we're going to sort of just see if a 1-day event would suit the needs of everyone a little bit better than that 2.5-day event. So more information will be coming out about that. We have what's called an MCL for any of our mass customized learning districts out there, or for any of you that are interested. We have an event with, actually Chuck Schwan is coming. It's an MCL Strength Finder event. So if I open up that document, what that is, so Chuck Schwan is actually going to be with us on selecting learning facilitators. So how do we effectively, through staff selection, how do we affect learning success through staff selection? So as you are, hiring and you're looking at teachers or learning facilitators that kind of fit the mold for mass customized learning, Chuck Schwan is going to be with us. He and B. McGarvey have developed a Strength Finder tool to aid, mass customized learning leaders in selecting outstanding learning facilitators. So there is a registration fee to bring in Chuck Schwan is not cheap. So, we certainly have to charge for this event, but there are some different pricing structures there for you. And there's registration information. If you would be interested in this March 15th event, it will be held here. It's in an all day, it will be all day. And we also have the Mass Customized Learning Spring Summit. This is just a save the date only. We don't have registration or anything set up yet. We do have, we're going to have April 6th is actually going to be a pre-summit with B. McGarvey, and her topic is just simply going to be about grading. And she has a lot to say. If you've ever heard B speak, she certainly has a lot to say in terms of how we are currently looking at how we are currently grading in our systems. April 7th will be the actual summit, and the theme will be essential technology tools for mass customized learning. A lot of times we hear from districts, technology plays a big part, but what are some of the districts, our MCL districts, what are you using? What technology could you not live without in order to make mass customized learning successful? So that's going to be the theme. The location is the Blair County Convention Center, and that will take place April 6th and 7th. And just coming soon, this is just more of an awareness. We are going to bring back our college and career ready network, primarily, guidance counselors. So on April 20th, we are in the process of planning an event, and we will be getting that information out to you soon. We have Mike Thompson, who is a retired guidance counselor and a current PDE consultant, talk about those comprehensive guidance plans. He was here a couple years ago. I think it's time to kind of bring him back. So that will be April 20th. And we're also looking to provide a training on code from code.org. So we don't have any date selected for that. This just all kind of happened within the next couple days. We are coordinating that. So this is an FYI. You'll be hearing more. Check your emails for more details regarding those. All right, so I'm going to pause. Does anybody have any questions from me before I head into some of the other IU8 staff updates? Okay. So Rita, yes.
I'm sorry. Took me a minute to unmute. So am I correct as I'm reading this that there is a really good chance that the PA Future Ready Index is not going to really replace SPP? It's just going to be an additional system?
Correct.
Forever, or just until they...
Because that, for federal accountability, that SPP score will stand. And same with educator effectiveness. The PA Future Ready Index score, from what I understand, is not going to be the score that's going to go into a teacher's evaluation score. That PA Future Ready Index will be more for, it will be a report card score, but it will have that more holistic view that we can use here locally. But for federal accountability, that won't be used.
So really, this is just going to add a lot of data reporting requirements to districts and not eliminate the SPP?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I know. Brian Campbell, who is a new director of the Curriculum Bureau director, he spoke to us about this. And so they're currently having all these kinds of conversations as to how can we, have this PA Future Ready Index, that they want to use. They want to get away from the just focusing solely on assessments, that factor into that SPP score. But because of, Act 82 and the legislation that's currently in place, it's hard to get around that right now. I think eventually they would like to, get back into legislation and make those changes, but that certainly can't be done as quickly as you would like. So we're just going to kind of have to hold out and see how this all kind of plays out. But we could be looking at 3 different sort of systems. So. All right, so Rita, like I said, Rita couldn't be here. She's out in the district today, so I'm going to just quickly go over her updates. So she has some upcoming professional learning and events. Once again, Get More Math is next week. Erica Martin from Tyrone will be conducting that. Information and registration is linked there. If you have any teachers, I know it's short notice. We have advertised this, but I think after maybe talking and hearing from Josh today, you may have more of an interest at this point. So check out that. The PA STEM competition is February 7th. On February 8th, we have EverFi. We have a training being provided by EverFi, and there's information and registration for that. We did have EverFi not too long ago present here at Curriculum Network. So in addition to information you heard, if you the STEM resources to engage students, we will have that will be planned on February 8th. February 9th is her Gifted Network from 10 to 2. You can register online using this link. She does have Lisa Van, Germet? I'm not sure how to say her last name. She's also known as a Gifted Guru. And we also have the Gifted Support Teacher from Forest Hills. Patrick will be joining the network that day. So if you have any specific questions that you would, for that day that you would like to ask Patrick to speak about in relation to Gifted, you can certainly email him, just ahead of time so he can prepare. Vanessa, if there's anything you want to chime in there, I think, Patrick seems to be a real go-getter and doing a great job at the Forest Hills School District for the Gifted Support Program. And so moving on, we have our STEM Connection meeting. Back in December, we had our first STEM Connection meeting, and we had about 10 districts that were represented at that meeting. It was a great meeting. And really the goal behind this STEM Connection is to start bringing everyone together, having those conversations about STEM education. What are you currently doing at your district level? How can we all learn from one another? There is a registration right here. We also can Zoom that meeting out to anyone. If you can't attend face-to-face, we can Zoom that out to you. But there will be presentations by Laura Fleming, who is at the New Milford High School in New Jersey. We have Corey Pavlovsky, who is the STEAM teacher at Wimber Elementary, and Shelley Beers, who is, I know she does all the STEM and the maker spaces at Claysburg Kimmel High School. So we're just currently going to start pulling all of these people in, learning from what they're doing and providing that network. So if you didn't attend the one in December, that's not a problem. You can certainly send anyone to this meeting, or if you want to connect virtually. I think Rita, let me just check this real quick. I think Rita, she may not, but I know that she has said that you can connect virtually via Zoom. So that information can be sent out to you. And then just some other trainings that are coming here. Her Math Network meeting. There's a Snowmake update for the PA STEM competition. We do have Little Bits, Sphero, Raspberry Pi, Breakout EDU. We have some trainings coming up for those. If you have teachers that want to get trained so that they can then enter into our STEM Lending Center, which is currently being piloted, we have that option, those options as well. So right now, like I said, our STEM Lending Center is being piloted by the teachers who participated in this September STEM series workshops, and we're trained on the equipment. So we hope to begin lending equipment to teachers. Well, we actually already have started lending equipment to teachers. And then teachers attending the spring workshops will also have the opportunity to use the STEM Lending Center in this spring pilot as well. So it's going well, actually. We have equipment going out on a regular basis. We're kind of getting used to that system. We're learning, how all of that inventory, coming in, going out, all of that kind of stuff. So more to come with our STEM Lending Center. So here's our PA, I think I said our PA STEM competition. We have 8 schools participating in this event. Information can be found at this link right here. Rita also has some information here on the Pennsylvania Math Education Coalition. There was a meeting with Beth Olenoff, who is a special assistant to the secretary for PDE. There's an overview and discussion of ESSA, and information and registration can be found for this at this attached flyer if you have any interest in that coalition meeting. So those were Rita's updates. Moving forward with Brenda's, like I said, she wasn't able to be with us today. CDTs, stay tuned for some CDT information, trainings, and additional support. We are going to collaborate with some of our other IU colleagues, and we will be offering some CDT trainings coming up here probably in the spring, whether it be on the technical side of CDTs as well as the instructional side of CDTs. So stay tuned for some information on that. We are currently working closely with iPad implementations right now, particularly in the primary levels. So we're investigating developing a cohort sharing group. If you are interested, just shoot Brenda an email so that we can start building out some of those resources and building that network. So, email Brenda, and her email is right there if you are interested in kind of joining our group on iPad implementation, primarily particularly in the primary grades, K1, 2, 3. Bright Bites, we still have some seats available if anybody's interested in collecting data. We have 50,000 seats available. So if you are interested in one of those seats, certainly let us know. We can get you hooked up with the Bright Bites team. Nearpod, Nearpod is, we have Brenda linked a flyer here for Nearpod. There's some new consortium pricing, and it's a collaboration tool that teachers use in the classroom that combines presentations, engagements, assessment tools, more so, I guess, more formative assessment here on one all-in-one solution. So if you're interested, if you currently use Nearpod, here's some consortium pricing. And how does it work? If you're interested in learning more about Nearpod, you can let Brenda know. But that's what that information is there for your FYI. Okay. All right. I think I am actually going to take a quick break myself here from talking and allow Dr. Mulroy to kind of provide her World of Learning updates. So Pat, I know you're with us. Do you need me to unshare my screen at all?
No, you can just stay where you are. I'm going to just do a real quick update. I was really excited to be out at our office in Evansburg and meet with a variety of folks from our districts this week to start a World Language Network. And we had folks from Chestnut Ridge, Windber, Ferndale, Richland, Hollidaysburg, and Turkey Foot join us. And the purpose of our meeting is to try and determine what kinds of resources classroom world teachers could benefit from based on what we have currently developed in our World of Learning that we're delivering in the online consortium. So the first thing we did this meeting is we shared out one of the resources that we use, which is Padlet, where teachers put together varieties of activities and exercises for students to practice their world language skills. So, based on that. So we gave them access to just look at our Padlet account where our world language teachers have developed activities for students across a variety of languages. Most of the folks who joined us for this particular meeting were either German, French, or Spanish teachers. We have had an additional Latin teacher reach out who's interested. So we'll expand that, and we do offer all those languages currently in our online program. So we've developed a calendar. We're going to be meeting again in March and April, and February, March, and April, actually. I'm getting ahead of myself here thinking it's February already. But we're going to, in February, talk about getting students to actively speak the language. And so we're going to talk about the pedagogy and some of the instructional practices that teachers use in the classroom to get students to speak. And the teachers are going to share some of their experiences. We're going to talk about that. And Chris Davis will be joining me to do some of this professional development. And then we're also going to talk about some of the tools that teachers can use in their classroom to have students do some independent work on speaking and listening. We're also going to, in March, talk about grammar and vocabulary and some of the resources and tools and how we do that in world languages. And then in April, we're going to talk about authentic materials and look at maybe some ways that we can catalog and warehouse authentic materials and ideas around sharing authentic instructional practices in the world language classroom. So we are super excited about this initial offering and that we had so many people come out to join us. And so we're looking forward to build upon that. And one of the other things I have in regard to that, and this will be opened and there'll be more information, but we are going to have a boot camp. There will be some costs associated with the boot camp. It will be potentially 4 days of instruction around developing resources and shared resources that we can do. The teachers were really excited. They talked about potentially looking at sorting out each level and coming up with common ideas about where level 1, 2, 3, 4, and advanced levels would be, things that would help us be more able to share resources and tools across the IU. So that was just a super exciting meeting, and I've gotten some contact already from some of the teachers, and I think we'll have some more. Your teachers are welcome to join us at any point. We will sometime next week be putting out the dates for our February, March, and April meetings. The meetings are free to the districts to join us, and if they can't make it live, you can join us. We did have a district join us just like this via a Zoom meeting, and they did participate in the conversations. So that's those two things. And then for those of you who are considering some type of addition or need support in your world language in an online format, you can see on the wiki that I have the varieties of levels that we have and also the courses that we offer. So you can see that in everything but college, we really do offer programs. Our hope is to make a program match what you need. We really don't have a one-size-fits-all program, and we're really willing to work with you and your district and your district world language teachers. I want to make that really, we're sure that they can be a great resource for us. That's all I really have. I also want to say that I had an opportunity to go out to Tyrone and meet Erica Martin. She's supervising a French class that we deliver there. And she got me super excited. And I went in and I watched those classrooms. So I just want to give kudos to just the excitement that I saw and the good instructional practices I saw there by virtue of visiting a world language classroom. So, but that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I don't see anything in the chat box. I do have my phone number and my email here. You can text message me at that phone. You can call me. If I don't answer, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. You can also shoot me an email. And I'd love to just find out how we could help you or provide more information to you and your world language teachers. So have a great day and a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Pat. Hey, we currently have about 400 students across the state of Pennsylvania enrolled in our World of Learning program.
Yeah, we do, and it's really exciting. So it's been a really great adventure. We've kind of worked the kinks out. We just brought on about another 75 students this semester. And folks are asking us to do some other things, but we'll kind of see how that all rolls out before we add any additional resources out there for folks. So, but it's been a great experience, and the districts have been fantastic here. So thank you, everybody, for your
Thanks,
support.
thanks, Pat. I mean, once again, just get in touch with her if you have any needs in world languages. She will certainly do her best to meet your needs. Just to give you an update, you may have already heard this, but in terms our coordinator of special projects, Matt Daniel, is no longer employed with IU8. He took a job with the Somerset County CTC, but we are in the process of filling that position. I'm going to cross my fingers that maybe today we'll know. I don't know, but in the meantime, all student programs are running as scheduled. Nothing has been canceled. We have some of my other staff members working behind the scenes, doing a great job trying to just make sure everything is still running as planned. So if you get emails from Ellen Kuntz or Kristen Gabrielson, those two are the ones that are really kind of tackling these programs right now. So look for emails from them, regarding Connects and Scholastic Quiz, our Computer Fair, Science Fair, Math 24, all of those programs that are going to be coming up here. So if you see emails from them, in the meantime, they're kind of keeping the ship sailing at the moment. But we are in the process of filling that position. Hopefully very, very, very soon we'll know who that is. Leonard, I don't know, Leonard, Leonard, are you there? I know he's at Richland. I'm not sure if he's currently on or not. He may not be. In the meantime, Leonard has listed some resources there, more of an FYI. If he chimes in here, I'll let him kind of review those. But, those attachments are there and if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of Leonard. Jen Hernkane, she's out at a district today as well. She's our PIC Mentor Literacy Curriculum Specialist. Just so you know, Colin's writing for primary teachers, K to 3. Christine Gibson will be here on Monday, February 6th, as well as Friday, March 3rd. All sessions, the information for all sessions and locations are there. Here's the flyer for registration information if you still have teachers that are interested in that. We have some letters trainings that are going to be offered here in a couple different locations. You can see we are offering Module 1 again. This one is, the prerequisite. So, in order for teachers to kind of progress through letters trainings, they have to have Module 1. So if you have any new staff, new teachers that need trained in letters that have not begun the process yet, make sure that you see Module 1 is being offered. And we have Module 2, Early Childhood. Early Childhood is actually, that's the only one that is not in need of a prerequisite. You do not need Module 1 for Early Childhood. This one is a standalone. But every other module, you do have to have Module 1 first. Our letters trainings always go over really well. I'm actually going to have Jen, for any of you that attend my Title I Rural Capacity Building meeting, Jen Hernkane is going to be joining us that day to talk about, because we really do, these letters trainings are supported by that consortium. The funding that we get is how we can offer letters trainings at no cost right now. So she's going to be at our next meeting to talk about how can we support letters beyond that training, more of that on-site coaching, which she feels is quite needed when she delivers these training. It's that follow-up that's crucial. So we're going to be talking about that more. Also, she does run those PIC meetings. She has monthly PIC meetings. Those are her dates. All meetings are at the Altoona office. She usually has about 40 coaches per meeting. They are excellent, excellent meetings. If any of you administrators ever want to join, to come and to see what your coaches are involved in, she welcomes anyone to come. Last month, we added 3 new coaches from 2 different school districts. So our numbers for instructional coaching continues to grow. Jen's doing a fantastic job with that program. So feel free to join any of her meetings. Open Campus, Melinda, I know she's sitting in the back. I think she's going to come up and provide just an Open Campus update. Melinda?
Hello, everybody. Just some quick updates, and I put the dates on the screen so that you have them to reference. And if you are on my email list, you have gotten these dates as well. On Monday, there'll be an OdysseyWare information webinar. And this is for schools that are already using OdysseyWare, but also for schools that might be interested in taking a look at what OdysseyWare has available. The agenda covers everything from just the basics to going into detail on the data that's available that you can get out of OdysseyWare. So we are holding that as a webinar and recording the webinar so that if you cannot attend, you can also request the link. And over here on it says the IU8 virtual user group. If you click on that flyer, there's a link in there to register, and please do so, especially if you want the link, because it will record your email address, and then I'll be able to put that all into a group email and send you all the link to the recording. On March 2nd is our second focus group on competency-based learning. This CBL March flyer tells you information about that, and it also gives you a registration link, and there will be lunch served at that, so I will need to have people sign up beforehand so we can make sure we have enough food. And I am in the process of planning a session, and I don't know if this is going to be face-to-face or webinar yet. Based on the responses that I get, I'll make that decision at that time. Edgenuity has acquired Compass Learning, and with that acquisition will come changes to those of you who are using Compass Learning presently. So because of the acquisition, Edgenuity is not sure that they have the correct listing from Compass Learning to make sure we have all the schools contacted. So I told them that I would reach out to you and have you get in touch with me. If you're using Compass Learning in your schools, please register on this link that you see here and let me know that you are using Compass Learning. If you're interested in Edgenuity or to see what is being changed in Compass in the Compass Learning platform, so that maybe you might be interested in using that, please sign up there as well. And again, these are just informational things, but those of you who are using Compass Learning, we want to make sure that we know who you are so we can help you make this transition. Edgenuity has some big plans on changing the platform and doing things to upgrading the curriculum, so I would like you to be informed so that you know when it comes time to make decisions, you know what to do. And with the licensing, they may or may not be keeping some of the same licensing for those of you who already have licenses. So please make sure that you get in touch with me so that I can make sure you get in touch with the right salesperson at Edgenuity to make sure your account is covered. There were quite a few of you that were interested in the Own It curriculum, and I know that the pricing was a little bit steep for that. We have been able to negotiate some lower pricing for that. We're also forming focus groups. There are several schools coming on board outside of our region as well as inside our region, and we are going to be forming a focus group on that to help you think about the different ways that it could be used in your district with your students. There's a lot of different combinations being explored, and we just want to be able to share that out with you. That's the whole purpose of Open Campus, really is about the sharing, and it can be sharing of best practices as well as policies and procedures, and then you have the vendors with the curriculum, and eventually we also will be sharing between schools with what's being offered in the schools in our region. So if you're not part of Open Campus, please email me. My email address is there. And we can get you started. It does not cost anything for school districts in our region to become part of the Open Campus Initiative, and it gets you access to a lot of different information, gets you access to what's happening in the world of virtual learning, blended learning, and transformational education. So watch your email. For those of you who are using any vendors, please watch your emails, because I'm going to be asking about the licensing that you're considering for next year. It's not an obligation, but the IU has made the decision to pre-purchase a lot of licenses to provide you with the bulk pricing. So I want to be able to make sure we have the correct number of licenses available for you to do that. Those of you who are interested in the Summit Learning, the personalized learning application is now open. If you need assistance, please contact me and I'll be able to help you with that. Some other things that we're working on is I have been asked to search out some other vendors, and we'll be looking into that. One of the things with the Open Campus is we want to make sure that the offerings that we have offer you a variety of different learning opportunities, but also are we're kind of vetting them to make sure that they are rigorous and something that you want to offer in your school district. So we are in the process of reviewing. I don't know why I'm saying we, because it's just me. I wish there was a we. And we're also working on building capacity within districts by creating content to share. And Chris Davis, in that case, we are a we. She's actually the one working with several teachers now in different districts, working with them to put their content online so that we can have that to share among the districts. And then we are working on our online community to share best practices. This was mentioned at the last best practice meeting, and I think Chris and I are kind of come up, or we're close to having a solution that might work, and so watch your email for that as well. So I believe that would be all the updates I have. I feel like I went like 110 miles an hour. So, and I know I can't see the chat. It's weird. You can't see the chat here. Okay, great. If you have any questions, just give me an email. Thanks.
If you have any questions for Melinda, feel free to chime in. If not, Chris Davis. I know Chris is with us virtually. Chris, do you need to share your screen?
Yeah, actually, I am going to.
Okay, I'm going to stop then here.
Okay, so I just have a few quick updates, and I have this information on slides primarily to keep me on track, but I'll go through them pretty quickly. First, I just wanted to remind everybody that we do offer, we can help you if you're considering adopting a learning management system. And so Canvas is one of those options that you have out there. But even if you're not sure what learning management system you may want to use, or you want to do some exploring, or you want some consultation to consider your goals and how it might fit with technology that you're already using, that's something that we can help with, is help you kind of talk through some of those decisions and compare some of this. And I've put together some documents with comparisons of things like Moodle, Canvas, versus something like Google Classroom. So if you need some help there, you can just reach out and contact me. And then if you do decide to adopt Canvas and you're looking for some help getting started or implementing it, Canvas does provide some of that initial professional development when you sign on with them. However, if you feel like your teachers need more, there is the opportunity to get some additional professional development through us. So I just wanted to make you aware that we can help you with some of those decisions. And then a couple of other things related to virtual learning that are available for your teachers. We have some learning paths that are available, so some professional development online learning paths. And one of them is about designing virtual modules. And so the virtual design learning path is available in EduPlanet for your teachers. This consists of 8 modules. They can work on it completely at their own pace and from home if they like. And throughout this learning path, the teachers will be introduced to the concept of virtual learning, some of the pros and cons, and some of the tools that are useful for it. And by the end of the 8 modules, they will have created one of their own modules. And they can do that using Canvas, Moodle, Google Apps, or if you have a different LMS. It really doesn't matter which LMS they use. It's more about instructional practices. And so if your teachers are interested in a learning path like this, it's completely asynchronous, meaning there are not set meeting times. I've done this in the past where we had live sessions. This particular path is not incorporating live sessions, so it is a little bit cheaper than when we ran it with the live sessions that we did previously. So you can see it's $50 per participant. And if you have somebody who's interested, you can just reach out and contact me at cdavis@iu08.org. And there is a flyer. I've got the link on the wiki, and it's also in this on this slide. But there's a flyer that gives more detail about this learning path, what's in each module, what will they be able to do by the end of the learning path. So that is available. Also in EduPlanet, there is a learning path centered around competency-based learning. So in your district, if you're starting to explore competency-based learning, or you have a teacher who's interested in it, then you can let them know that this learning path is available. And this learning path is shorter. It's only 3 modules. It's a total of 3 hours. And again, it's completely asynchronous, so teachers work at it at their convenience. The cost is $35 per participant. And there is a flyer for that on the wiki as well. And it just gives you a little more detail about what they would be learning in this professional development learning path. So another professional development opportunity that we can make available is I've put together some webinars around using Edgenuity and best instructional practices if you're using that platform. So I don't know if anybody who's in the session right now or who may be watching the recording is actually using Edgenuity in their school district, but if you are and you would be interested in some more professional development for your teachers on how to use it effectively in a blended format, I do have some workshops put together that we could connect on and offer in live webinars for you. And so these I'm doing for another school district right now, and so I could use them with your school district as well. They're interactive, so they're in small groups, and so we do some activities during these sessions. Each webinar is designed to be about 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. And the beginning of these workshops, there are, I believe, 6 in total. The first one is really just an introduction to the platform, and the rest are around best practices. And so there's a flyer for that opportunity as well, and it's included on the wiki. And that flyer just lists each of the topics and a brief little description of what participants would learn during those webinars. So those are available. There's not a set time for those, because if your district is interested in those webinars, then I will connect with you to pick a schedule that works best for your teachers. And then we can talk over which of those workshops you'd be interested in and then what the cost would be. So that's mainly what the update is for me. All of this information is listed on Janelle's wiki with some notes and then links to all of the flyers. So I am going to pass it back to Janelle, but please do contact me if you have questions, or feel free to type them in the chat area. I'll keep an eye on that throughout here.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. Let me get back to the wiki here. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up, I think, all of our PDE updates, our IU8 staff updates, and then that brings us to our last item for the day. Mark Gensmore, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Mark is with us. He is the coordinator for Midas Education and Technology Professional Development at IU11. He was going to be on site, face to face with us today, but obviously like I said, since we went virtual, he was still able to connect with us. So he has a solution for all to place all of your data in one place, and he's here to kind of give you an overview of that program. Like I said, it's called Midas, and I don't know a whole lot about it myself, so I will be learning just as much as everyone else will be. So Mark, welcome to our Zoom meeting.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead. Can I go ahead and screen share?
Yep, let me stop sharing, and then you can go ahead and take charge there.
Okay. I'll move my bar here. So, thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. Some of the people I see in here I used to work with before. But my name's Mark Ensmore. I work for the Tuscarora Intermediate Unit 11. My email address is right there. The Tuscarora Intermediate Unit has a new partnership with Midas Education. It's a fairly new company, about 5 years old. And what they have is a solution, which is an educational enterprise management system. And basically what it is that you have a variety of different technologies that you use, and you have data here, and you have data there, and you have data in multiple different places. Well, Midas is a massive integrated data analytics system, and it provides you a variety of different tools. So when you start to look at some of the problems that you have, for example, you have your LMS and you have your SIS. Most of the time they don't talk to one another. So you're taking grades from your LMS and putting into your LMS or your SIS, and you have data in multiple different places, and again, collecting all that data for your PIMS. And a lot of times you're focused more on compliance than you are on the real instruction. So basically, what Midas has done is it's provided you a kind of an all-in-one solution. You have your student information system, you have your learning information system, you have your instructional management system, content management system, assessment analytics, adaptive instruction, RTI, teacher evaluation with professional development, special education, and a variety of these packages all tied into one. And if you really think about it, kind of when you start to look at this, what can Midas actually replace in your district? Well, everybody has a student information system. Everybody probably uses some type of assessment generator or analytic tool. You have your content management system, your learning management system that you might be using, something for behavior, something maybe for nursing and medical. You have your web hosting, your website. Some of you might be using SchoolWires or other packages. So what Midas Education can actually do is basically allow you to replace a lot of these systems all into one. And so I'm going to take you out live and kind of show you a bit about Midas, because I know I don't have a whole line here. But basically, the first thing is it's your content management system. So it's your front end to your website. And you have full capabilities to design your website however you like. They also provide design solutions for you. And as you can see, basically, you have a one login button that's going to get you to everything you need, to your student information system, to your learning management system, and all the other tools that I kind of spoke about before. So I'm already logged in here just for time purposes. And basically what you see when you come in is you have your portal, and everybody has their own portal. What's really nice about Midas is it's extremely customizable in what you see. Basically, the district can set up their own tab system, and then they can put their own widgets on their different pages. Everything from their biograph information to any children they may have, their peer mentees or advisors, and a variety of different things. And as you go across here, this is a staff page, what a staff page would look like, but a student page is going to look different, and a parent page is going to look different as far as what information's on there. And just kind of going across here, basically the contact information for that staff person. And then, of course, you get into the learning management system. I kind of want to focus on this a little bit more because I know that some of you are looking for learning management systems. And again, the great thing about Midas is you get everything. It's one solution, whether you use the student information part, whether you use another part, you have the learning management system, you just want to use that, you can use that. So you can choose the different parts that you want to use and customize the site the way that you like. So basically, I have my courses here. And I'm going to minimize this. And I'm just going to go into my math course. And so now I go into my course, actually into the learning management part of Midas Education. And that you have what's called you can name this anything you want. And you have a variety of different tools that you can use to add content. And they call them snippets. You can add assignments, you can add announcements, you can add resources, questions that students can answer, different types of standard alignment, adaptations, and just plain text. So most of the things that you would, again, expect out of any learning management system, you can use those different tools. But what I kind of like about Midas Education too, because everything's in one place, so are all the data as far as your grade book and everything, and parents looking at that. And just to kind of show you some of the things with the snippets, or with the learning management system, it has a great connection because of the parent portal and the parent information in there. It has great ways in which you can communicate. So for example, you can see that I posted an announcement here. I can simply create an announcement, and one of the things that I like is that you can email the students this announcement, or you can even email the parent this announcement. So you can keep communication up with your parents as you may need to, and students too. However, parents can come in here and look at the content or announcements. And as you can see here, you can have announcements. You can post a variety of different resources, whether it be video, files, whatever it may be. You can post your different assignments. And again, one of the nice things, because the way it works, when I create an assignment, it's going to go into my grade book. And when I grade it in my grade book, that's the grade book that your parents see. The other thing too, creating an assignment. I can email that assignment to students. I can email that assignment to parents. One of the really neat things too about it has full Google integration. So if you're a Google Apps school, it basically works with your Google Drive. So students can submit their work directly using their Google Drive account, and that shared document will go right to the teacher. However, you can also upload different files, add video links. The other thing too, when you really start to think about personalized learning, Midas allows you to individualize the instruction. So you can create assignments and activities for specific student or students within the Midas environment, which I really, really like, because the ways in which you can personalize learning using that. So it has a great integration with Google, as far as your Google Calendar, as far as your Google Drives and Google Apps. So that's a little bit about the basic tools in the learning management system. Every classroom comes with a calendar, so you can add your different events here that you're doing. It always has your course when it's taking place as an event, but you have a course calendar, and of course each student has their own calendar too. As far as taking your attendance, again, even though I'm in the learning management system part, I take my attendance from the learning management system, which again integrates directly within the student information system. I'm going to actually move this date because I have this date as an in-service day because of the schedule I use. So I'm going to go back a day. And you can see here that I've given all my attendance for the first 3 periods. And you'll notice that there's a bubble here. I can kind of hover over that. I can see that this student, Chris Davis, she was sent to the office and she was dismissed at 11:25. And so when I go to take my attendance in my 4th period and she's not there, I have some information knowing that she's there. As far as taking attendance, it's pretty easy. You can just say all present. And then, of course, I can come down and say, Chris is absent as usual from my class. I can also click on Chris, and I can get a full formula here for all the information as far as her parents, her guardian, and again, the periods in her schedule that she has. Now, this is elementary, so she's kind of all-inclusive, but when you think about the secondary, you have those types of things. Again, the grade book. The assignments that I posted on the front are now directly in my gradebook. So when I put an assignment in my LMS, it goes directly into my gradebook. I have a variety of tools here. I can select all and give everyone 1 grade and edit it, or I can just start typing in the grades that they have and hit enter. You also notice that there's a bubble here. I can go ahead and give a comment. And again, when I put comments on my assignments, parents can see those comments too. You'll see here, Chris, again, we'll see this in red. I can click on that little bubble and I can see the comment that I have in here. And I can also see that she was late on this assignment and she was docked 5 percentage points. So you have the ability to dock or, again, even excuse a student from an assignment by typing E or typing absent from assignment. You have a variety of capabilities to do those things. And of course, there's a variety of other things that you can do here too. It does do assignment and standard space. This classroom is only standard space, so you don't have the option for the standard space learning. But you can have and set your courses up to have either assignment or standard or both. One of the neat things, again, because of the integration, when you come to the roster, you can see a little alert here. I can click on that, and this connects right into the medical part of Midas, where you can see that Chris has a peanut allergy and any conditions that she may have. You also have a seating chart in here where you can put your people in, print that out. and that's all part of the learning management system. Again, it also ties into the cafeteria part, where you can set your lunch counts directly from your learning management system that goes into there. And there's also discussion boards within the learning management system too. So that's kind of, again, quickly on the learning management system side of this. I'm going to go ahead and click back here, and I want to go to a student, and I want to show you some of the things with the students and the PIMS reports. And I'm just going to use Chris again. So again, because this is all tied in with the student information system, the learning management system, you also have response to intervention and special educational needs. So here you can see that I had my different interventions, and I can assign an intervention to a student, and then I can keep an RTI log if I want. But then I can go ahead and do my responses, and I can see that, you know, for her word per minute intervention in small group tutoring, that I've actually done 3 responses. And I can add another one if I like, but I can also graph that. So again, when I'm looking at analyzing my data within my special educational needs, I can go ahead and graph that, and I can see exactly where we started, where the interventions were. So you can see my intervention here, you can see where my intervention was here, and you can see where my intervention was here. And you can see the progression Chris had in her reading words per minute. And again, you can have different types of responses. So maybe you have another type of response that she's doing, and you could add multiple responses to that graph. Again, all looking together with the learning process, with their grades in the learning management system. It also has the behavior module with it. You can see that we have an incident here where we had Chris had some simple assault issues. I can go ahead and look down at that, and I can see consequences. One of the really cool things too about Midas with consequences, I can assign a consequence, or I could have it automated too. There's a variety of ways in which you could automate the system through point values, or just automatically assign a consequence when it's added. So you have a variety of different things that you can do. And of course, this is also part of the PIMS reporting too. So this all goes along with your PIMS reporting. You also have health records that you can keep here. As you can see, here are the allergies that we have. You can have your immunizations and your health screenings. So for example, when your nurses do their screenings, they can come in here, and their basic screenings that you have to do, which are your BMI, your hearing, your oral, your physical, vision, and so forth. So you have full capability to keep track of all that for your students. One of the other really neat things too, if a student is taking medication and they need to take that through the nurse's office, every day the nurse can come in here and say, okay, this needs to be taken at 9 a.m. And she can go ahead and click on that, saying that that was given to her. And of course, again, we can run a report on that to see, you know, to make sure that she's, you know, received her medication every day, and we can compare it to when she was absent. Again, speaking of attendance, this is what the parents would see from the attendance side. So I can see when she was tardy, I can see that she overslept, what her comments were, and I can also, again, show a nice calendar graph of that. So I can see the different days in which she was present, field trips, or when she was absent. Parents see all this information too, unless you don't want them to. It's really up to you. And it also will break down the attendance by period. So parents can come in and see maybe they missed a period or whatever that might be, skipping class. Also, transportation's here, so you can have all your transportation information in here. And of course, the most important thing, all your PIMS data is in here, and I do want to show you the PIMS reports. So again, this is fully customizable in the way that you put your widgets on and your tabs and where you have your information. But again, you have multiple different systems that are connecting together with all your data into one database. So I kind of want to take you real quickly. Oh, I did want to show the grades here real quick. As far as what the parents see in the grades, the parents would go ahead and see the student just like you see the portal here. And they would see their grades, and they can, again, change each marking period to find out what it is. they can go ahead and click on that class, and I'll click on the 5th grade class, and I can see a breakdown of those scores. And again, I can go ahead and see any comments that were in here, and I can see that she submitted the assignment, but it was not completed. And I must have emailed that. And again, you can email parents from directly there too, as a teacher. So you have all these reporting capabilities and information right at your fingertips. And I know I don't want to hold you up too long, but I did want to get into the PIMS reporting capability of Midas. So again, one of the nice things too about Midas is almost all your reports are fully customizable. So you have your different categories of reports, but then you can choose from a variety of different actions from those. But I really kind of want to just focus on the PIMS student snapshot right now, which is a common one that you have to run. And so you can have pre-saved reports that you run, but you can go ahead and choose from the different menus here. I'm just going to do 4th grade and the snapshot data. You can do the whole school, or you can do the whole district too. It's really up to you. You can exclude the headers from the CSV when it pops out if you like, or you can have them in there. Obviously, when you send that in, you don't want them. But one of the really neat things is that when you come in here, you can actually edit the fields directly in here for the most part. Not all of them, like address and their unique ID numbers cannot be. But for example, if I see here that this is missing data, I can come in here and I can edit this right here. And any of these, and these are set up specifically for the PIMS reporting. And of course, all you'd have to do is save the changes. This saves it right back to the database. You don't need to go back to her portal and click on the PIMS tab and then correct that information. You can correct it right here. And of course, who is this kid? How do I know which kid this is? Because I can't see their name. One of the really neat things, and I love how PIMS always puts the names back to back, I can go ahead and move these columns to different areas, and then it'll pop up and I can go ahead and change that data. And this needs to refresh. Actually, always has problems when I'm screen sharing, so I think there's an issue there. But you can go ahead then and pump out your CSV file, and you can pull that out, and then you can go ahead and submit that data. One of the neat things too that you'll notice in this, I'm gonna go ahead and run this, whoops, sorry about that. One of the other neat things that you'll notice too in this report, sorry about that. One of the things that you'll notice too in all the PIMS reports that are in here, you'll notice that the different columns are here. And if anybody's run PIMS or worked with PIMS or anything like that, you'll notice it goes from 20 to 23. So all those blank columns that are used in the PIMS report that you still have to submit, they're not there when you're looking at the report here. However, when you pump this out as a CSV file, all those columns are in there. That are blank. So what's nice is you don't have to sort through all those blank columns to find the information you need. You see all the information that needs to be in your PIMS report, but when you pop that out in the CSV file, all those blank columns that are in those reports are there for you. Oh, excuse me. One other thing, this does have a full professional development educational growth module. So you can create your own educational growth plans. You can create steps. You can create upcoming events for that. You can see the upcoming steps due dates already up to date, so I don't have any to do. I also can list all my conferences that have been pre-approved. For example, if I'm going to P&C or any other conference. And for principals and so forth, they can go ahead and do an ad hoc observation. And you can create your own templates for observations. You can pump those out at CSV. You can see that this is only an edit, so the actual teacher would not be able to see this yet. And I can edit this draft that I have here. And I can go ahead and save the elements. And then if I want, I can save the draft or even publish it. So I have that full capability. It also comes with educational growth resources, and it also has a video library where you could add your own video evidence for your professional development growth. This is fully customizable as far as your own customized plans. It also comes with full badging. It has competencies and certifications built into it too. So there's a variety of different things that you can do in the educational growth module when you set that up. Just kind of real quick, you can see that you have set up your own plans, competencies, PD offerings, badging, certifications, your own templates, resources, and so forth. Has fully advanced scheduling, and you can also have students request courses. You can also put in full sequence of events of courses and a variety of different things, prerequisites, so that students can't actually request courses without a prerequisite course being available, full sequencing of your courses, and again, a full automated scheduling tool where you can prepare your schedule and do a full automated scheduling. Other things, just real quick, it has physical resource management, a full ticketing system for your facility management system. Again, your educational growth, your behavior. It does do timesheets and some HR things, as far as the ability to request leaves and those types of things. And of course, your full website design. So I'm going to stop right now, and I'm going to open it up for any questions. If anybody has any questions for me, and I'm also going to put my contact information back up here. So I'm going to open up for any questions, and I see that I have one here. Let me see if I can get my chat open.
Looks as if you're just getting a nice job, Mark.
Okay, yep, I see that now. Yeah, there's my contact information. If you are interested in learning more about Midas and what it has to offer, I can tell you right now, you will save a tremendous amount of money by combining your systems. Midas is very, very cost effective when you start to look at the price of your student information system, your learning management system, your website portal, and again, a variety of other tools. And again, tools that you might not even have or are using today. Any other questions?
Hey, thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Janelle, for giving me the time today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. So I like the background. It looks very rustic.
I have a log home. So.
Oh, that's cool. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. And anyone else have any questions before we end the meeting today? Okay, well, thanks for joining. Hopefully this worked okay for everyone. You were still able to get the information without having to leave your office and get on those roads if you didn't have to. So have a great weekend, everyone. And I'm sure we'll all be in touch soon.